this is Philomath. You will always have enough volunteers. They will come, and they did. Volunteer for PCS in any of our organizations, can you please stand up? Volunteers! Yes, I want to thank you guys because without our volunteers we could not make this happen. And as a board member, I put in my hours doing a lot of the stuff, the overhead stuff, but the people on the ground are you guys as volunteers, and I appreciate each and every one of you. We have our mayor here, McMorran. He would like to come up and speak a little bit. And then we also have our state representative, David Gomberg, here.
Thank you very much. I'll just let the record show this was Sharon's idea, not my idea. So, she's responsible for anything I say. But I wanted to start off with, along the spirit of the amazing volunteers that make Philomath Community Services happen, a quote from former Oregon Governor Tom McCall. That's what he said. Let me move over here. Which is that... We're going to get there someday, folks. Which is that heroes are not giant statues cast against a red sky. There are people who look around and say, this is my community, and it's my responsibility to make it better. And I think that is nowhere truer than in Philomath, where our motto is literally the city of volunteers. And Philomath Community Services is kind of the epitome of that volunteer spirit, of that spirit of giving back, of making it happen for the people who need it the most. And I mean, we heard some of the statistics about the amazing work that PCS is doing, but I don't want those statistics to gloss over the fact that that kind of support is more important now than almost ever. The amount of people who need food, who need clothing, who need resources, that number is going up, and the amount of resources and support that we're getting from the government, that number's going down. There is an inverse correlation in a very bad way. And so that's where we all come in, right? We are all people who look around at our community and we say, it's my responsibility to make it better. There are people in this community that need help. Philomath Community Services is there to help. But it's up to all of us to make sure that PCS can keep doing that great work. So I started this with a quote, and I'm going to finish it with a paraphrased quote, which I'm going to adapt from a great all-time public servant, and say, ask not what your community can do for you, but what you can do for your community. So before I hand it over to our esteemed state representative, I just want to recognize some of our other elected officials who are here tonight. We have our county commissioners, Gabe Shepard in the back and Pat Malone here. I think those are our two who were able to make it. I think we have a couple city councilors. We have Diane Crocker, and then I know Brent Caseman's here somewhere. Oh, no, he's not.
He said his wife's birthday.
Oh, okay, I thought I saw him earlier. He's not here. And then we have Ken Corbin on the fire board. Woo! There we go. And we have Tom Clipfell on the school board somewhere. Perfect. Wonderful. Did I miss anyone? All right. With that, please help me welcome our state representative, David Gomberg, who made the drive over from Otis.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Mayor. I think a lot of you know your mayor works in the state capitol where I work, and sometimes he's there appearing as a representative of the office where he serves, and sometimes he's there serving as a representative of all of you. And we have a little trouble keeping track, so he wears a hat that says mayor so that we know which hat he's wearing. Well, first of all, I just wanted to take a moment and say we're so saddened that David Lowe and his wife Linda couldn't be with us tonight. Let's have a good thought for both of them who are not feeling particularly well this evening. I know that it would take a lot to keep them away from a celebration like this. And my wife Susan and I drove over from Otis, beautiful drive down the beach and across the range. But I got to tell you, we wouldn't miss this either because there are so many things that make Philomath special. I mean, you know that, you live here. I'm telling you from somebody that lives an hour and a half away that there are things that make Philomath special. In the last couple of years, I'm thinking about when I had the opportunity to help break ground and then cut the ribbon on the streetscape program. The Cochrane Memorial Park. And by the way, we passed a resolution in the last legislative session honoring Jeff Paul. Paul Jeffrey, I get confused sometimes, but we're honoring him so that we can actually put a sign up on the highway that will point people toward the park and remember his remarkable contribution to our state and his community. And then just very recently, the cutting the ribbon at the grandstands. We're celebrating 50 years of contributions by a remarkable organization to this remarkable community, and that wouldn't be possible without all of your ongoing support. So I just wanted to come down tonight and say thank you so very, very much for all of you, to all of you for all that you do, for those that are here, for those that are not here, but that are in dire need of our help from time to time, and hoping that they'll look forward to being in a position to help future generations doing the same things 50 years from now. Thanks so very much, everybody.
I would like to announce that today is her birthday, so please wish her a happy birthday. I think she was hoping I wasn't going to say anything, but that's not me.
Oh, I see it. So where's it going? Okay, well, right here.
I'm 72 today. And I've spent 40 years working in anti-hunger work and community food systems work and advocacy for people, low-income people. But 50 years ago, an incredible feisty lady, a retired social worker from New York City who worked in the worst parts of the city. And you can think about it back then, which was even more so. Her name was Nancy Flegel. And she retired to Philomath. And she looked around, and her son lived here. And she looked around, and she saw a need for people to have food. And that was before Leadminton Food Share. It was before Oregon Food Bank. It was before any of those institutions existed. And she had a bicycle. And she got a trailer for her bicycle. And she started going around town to the grocery stores. We actually had 3 then, I think. And to other stores and to farmers and collecting food and going to churches and saying, we've got people in need, we need to do something. And that's how Philomath Community Services began. That's our origin. Very humble beginnings. And I met her 10 years later when I needed a food box for my family. We had moved here from North Carolina. My husband was disabled, and we were trying to get resettled in a new place. So I was lived up on North 12th Street I had the house up there for 35 years. So I feel like I'm a Philomath person, even though I don't live there right now, because I can't afford to live there. I couldn't afford to buy a house when I wanted to, which tells a story. That, things are getting tough, and our town's become very popular, and it's a place for people to move, but a lot of people who have lived there a long time can't continue to live there. So then the city gave her a building on South 19th Street. I don't think that building exists. And then the second building, the one where I met her, is a little tin shed that still exists over on North 19th Street, close to PYAC. And I was working with Leadminton Food Share, and it became necessary for us to have 501c3s to continue to get donated food. All these organizations, grassroots organizations that had just been people doing a good thing, then had to become formal 501c3s. And it's about the same time, in the mid-'80s, June Anderson had started something called the Baby Bank. And she was a retired social worker, DHS worker, and saw the need for people to have things for babies and kids. So then when it came time to have the 501c3, the Rotary Club had gotten involved. Fred, where are you? So anyway, Fred's here representing the Rotary Club. The Rotary Club got involved, and they started to raise money and support those efforts. And so that was the next step, helping Nancy, helping June, get in a place. So we got a trailer up behind the fire department for the food pantry, and a double-wide trailer for the baby bank up behind the fire department. So that was the next thing. Well, then I left Leadminton Food Share, and I went to work for Oregon Food Bank. And lo and behold, since I wasn't working for an agency that directly served them, I then qualified to be on the board of PCS. And I had helped Don Anderson and the Rotary members write the 501c3 and get that passed while I was at Leadminton Food Share. So I went to my first board meeting, and they elected me vice president. I should have run away right then because the president resigned at the next board meeting. And what we had on our docket was building a building. And that's where we are today, that building that we built 20 years ago and moved into 20 years ago. Our services have expanded, grown and expanded. Now we have the community garden, we do holiday cheer. The Gleaners came in under the PCS umbrella in the late 90s. And so we serve hundreds of people through that building. But now we've outgrown that building and we're looking forward. So this is kind of the start of us saying to the community, we gotta grow because we don't have a choice. And the other thing that's happened to us in the last few months is the loss of resources. We lost 17% of our food supply to the food pantry with a cut of one USDA program. Just one program. And all of that product is high protein nutritional food. We also lost 9% of the food that was coming to our Glean program. So that's a huge amount of food, and it's hard to replace those high protein items. It's not what, the cans are good, but they don't replace that. It's the fresh protein, the eggs, the citrus that comes from across the country. That's the other thing, is those programs brought in produce that's produced in a place that we don't produce here. We're rich in our produce, but we don't have everything. So we're in a position where we have to grow, we have to raise more money, and we have to find a better place to do our job. And so that's something we're definitely thinking about, and you're going to be hearing more about in the days to come. Thank you all so much for coming here. I am so gratified by everyone that's here. Please, if you haven't ever been to our building, come take a tour. We have one of the best children's closets I've ever seen, and everyone who comes and visits, I get a lot of visitors from across the country because I've done so much work across the country, and they are just astounded by our building and what we're able to do with the resources we have. But we could do so much more, and we're going to have to, because next month, in October, well, 2 months from now, there are huge SNAP cuts coming and new criteria for people getting SNAP. So we're going to have to provide people with opportunities to volunteer in order to get their benefits. And that takes management. So all those things are coming down around us, and we're the last place that people go. So I want you to think about that, but please come and see us. Think about volunteering. Think about ways you can support our food programs. We really appreciate everything that people here do. And you know, we were getting ready for this, and one of my staffers said to my other staff person, Eliza, who's back here serving food, she said, "We don't have enough volunteers." I said, "No, this is Philomath. You will always have enough volunteers. They will come," and they did. So we're very glad to have you. Here's another one of our star volunteers. Here's Karen. All right, now Jodi's getting me off the mic. No. Well, thank you all for coming.